Hi, this is Dr. Maggie Perry with Tell Me What You're Proud Of, and this is my second session with John. So John, thanks for being here. Can you tell me what is going on for you now?
So now I feel like I'm at a point where some of the things we've been talking about make more sense because I've been able to put them into practice. Like things like process, not outcome. Like I've been able to do that for a couple of years now, and it makes sense. Like just the process of doing this podcast can be hard to like get past the anticipatory anxiety, like get into a place where I could do it, but like doing it more makes it easier and like kind of building off success.
Great, yeah. Can you tell me more about your anticipatory anxiety?
So anytime I'm going to do something that I care about, or it's a social setting, like I'm going to interact with somebody, then I'll have like this kind of, it doesn't feel like it just feels my nerves kind of, I feel jittery. So that's what I get.
Okay, can you tell me anything else that happens in your body? Like how do you know you're experiencing anticipatory anxiety?
Yeah, I think my breathing gets a little quicker. I think my heart beats faster. I think my muscles start to tense up a little.
Okay, and what happens in your mind?
And in my mind, I start thinking of like worst case scenarios. Like, what if I vomit in front of a lot of people? Or what if that person doesn't like me? Or it just kind of goes to like these really worst case scenarios.
Okay, and how do you manage it?
I think one thing that I've found is it can't be like the same thing every time. I mean, maybe the overall all themes are the same, like trying to take a couple of deep breaths, reminding myself of why it means something to me to do it. Maybe checking in on why I feel nervous, like what is it that's causing those nerves to be there. I think that's kind of how I deal with it.
And does that, when you look at what's happening, does that usually help your anxiety dissipate, or does it just, or like, does it have some other impact for you?
Yeah, I don't. It doesn't always go away for me, but what it does do is it kind of gives me motivation to do it. So like, just to use the podcast again, like I really wanted to share my story and maybe it'd help somebody else out to hear some of this stuff. So that's kind of like my motivation for doing it. And then just allowing the nerves to be there if they're going to be there. And if they kind of calm down because of that, then like great.
Yeah, that sounds great. When you were saying that you've started to use process, not outcome, can you tell me more about what you mean by that?
Yeah. So like there's a lot of things that I've wanted to do that I just haven't. And I think some of the reasons why I haven't is because I don't feel like I'm good at them. I just don't have the skills for them. So then it's more about what skills do I need to be able to do those things, and like how could I get those skills, and kind of going through the process of building those skills as opposed to like just wanting a very specific outcome. Like I go to this event and I meet this person and we hit it off and like I have a new best friend or something.
Yeah, that's a great example. Can you give me some more examples of things you want to do and you switch from being preoccupied with how it turns out to thinking about the skills that would make that outcome more likely?
Yeah. So like one of the things I know is I want to connect with other people. And I think in the past I would ask myself like, why do I feel so nervous around other people? Like, why can't I just calm down? And you've called those like judgmental questions.
Hmm.
And I've kind of switched to like, all right, what is it that I really want? I want to connect with the people that I can vibe with. Like, how can I do that? And then it's like finding better ways to tell stories, maybe finding ways to empathize with the people more, being more vulnerable. So like just what skills do I need to be able to hit what I want, not so much get rid of the nerves.
Yes, I completely agree with you on that. And that's a great use of your values. How has that worked out for you over the last 5 years?
Yeah, it's been gradual, but I feel like my mind just buys into it more because I've had success with like shifting. Like it used to be like I just want everything to happen all at once. And now it's like it's okay that it's like a little by little each day. Maybe just explore different ways to connect with other people or explore different ways to tell stories or any little thing I could do the next day.
Yeah. And are you able to maintain that attitude all the time?
No, there's definitely times where like I'm more sensitized or something's going on, like throws me off for a little bit. So definitely not all the time.
What do you mean by sometimes you get more sensitized?
Like recently, I was really sensitized because I felt like anger, and then I felt irritable, and I was like, "Why is that happening?" I couldn't really figure out why I was feeling irritable, and I kind of just sat with it for a bit, and I felt like I was feeling like kind of forgot the name, like a heightened sense of responsibility towards other people and like trying to take care of their needs. And like once I figured that out and just kind of sat and mellowed out for a couple minutes, I was able to calm down.
Yeah, that's great. So basically, rather than acting on your irritability, you used it as a cue to observe what was happening. And as you observed what was happening, you noticed that you were trying to control or take responsibility of what other people were experiencing. And
Right.
then you were able to let go of that and just go with like what you could control, or how would you describe the shift that you made?
Yeah, I think first it was just trying to figure out what was happening because I couldn't. Like I didn't know what was going on. I just kept getting more irritable. So I think for me, the first thing was just what was it? And then once I figured that out, like what could I do to get myself in a better state? And then once I was in a better state, then I was like, all right, now what could I do to help that other person?
Yeah, that sounds great. What did you do that helped you understand what was happening?
I think I listened to the podcast you did with somebody else, and like I think you talked about like heightened sense of responsibility in that podcast, and I was like, well, maybe that's what it is, and then it was.
Great. I'm glad that you were able to use that as a resource.